And good morning to everybody that is in normal time North America. And for all of you gents across the sea with Dan Mumford, well, I guess good afternoon. I have no idea what time it is there, but good afternoon to you. My name is Anthony Krusowitz, and I am here with my friends Dan Mumford and Bailey Reese, two of my, I guess, friends that have been doing this shit for a long time, and they continue to do it with me. So we are here on 3 Pints of Pop, a show where we talk pop culture and randomize things throughout our show. Today, though, for the first time ever, we actually have a show rundown, Kill the Music, and we are hoping to keep this organized. I was excited about it. Unfortunately, for the last 2 days, I've been victimized by my 2 co-hosts about how shitty it was and how bad of an idea it was and how they're young guns and how they've stolen my credit card and they're going to go wild with it. So first, let's get right.
We're just saying you can't control us. And
you cannot control us at all. Right, we will drown you out. And I also will say, yes, we are friends, but I do not have health care. And I can thoroughly say we do not have a 401k for being a podcast host. And so we are definitively friends without benefits, Anthony. And I will not stand for this anymore.
There you go. Facts are facts. Right. So now that's out of the way.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, now that's out of the way.
What's on the agenda?
We deleted the script. We deleted it from the chat.
Well, I have it right in front of my face. So let's first go to Dan Mumford. Dan, how is it going overseas?
It's going pretty well. What time is it? It is 2:00 over here.
Oh,
so not much to report really. I'm getting back in the swing of things at work after not doing that much for the start of the year. So, I'm back at it now. It's going quite well. Yeah.
The one thing I did see the other day on your Instagram, you posted that those pictures from your Vans event you did, and that kid that you drew on his shirt. I've never seen a kid light up like a fucking Christmas tree after Christmas as much as that kid was so excited you doodled on his shirt.
Yeah, man, that was really fun. Like, I don't get to do a lot of like analog artwork, if you will. Like, it's all done on the computer now, and the most analog thing I do is that it gets created as a screen print, right?
Mm-hmm.
So doing something like that workshop was really fun because it's really, I'm actually interacting with people properly and using my abilities, I guess, to actually just help people make fun stuff. So it was really cool. And I kind of want to do more of it now. Yeah.
Dude, that's so dope. And then now going to Dan's, I guess, right on the screen, we're going to go staying back to North America. Mr. Bailey Reese, otherwise known as I do a lot of great posters and I continue to do them. How are you doing, mister?
You schmoozing is not going to let me light up about the script. I'm just going to say that right now. You are not going to turn around and have me stop it. I'm good. I'm well. I'm tired. Just got back from South by Southwest and about to hop on a plane to New York City for more work stuff in less than 24 hours. So, I am I'm chugging along, ready to crash for a week straight when I get back next week.
Nice. On this show, we have consistently discussed movies, pop culture. That's where the show comes from, 3 Pints of Pop. Also, I don't know if you guys caught on to the Instagram post the other day where I put our heads under, like, who had the fullest glass of beer. I don't know if you caught on to that. You'll have to look back and see whose head is over the beer that has the most. But, it's interesting because we are just running out of, the award season's over. We've been talking about movies for just about a year now and talking things. And I have come to terms with the fact that I hate award shows. Like, I fucking despise them. Like, it is to the point where the movies that I love that got awards, I went back and watched them and then found out that, like, I don't know why they won.
Like what for example, what film would you say that about then?
Okay, so have both of you finally seen The Whale?
No, I haven't actually.
I still have yet to see The Whale.
Okay. So are you saying that that's one of them? Yes. So I saw The Whale, and it opened my eyes to how we look at people. And it is a very disturbingly hard movie to watch because it is a very true
Mm.
movie. Because it's I mean, it's someone who's dealing with obesity, who is estranged from his daughter, trying to get her back in his life, who is basically, you're watching an obese man basically kill himself in theory by overeating and doing things. And it is a difficult movie to
Yeah.
watch. And
Yeah.
I know, and he won award for, I think it was, I have the list here. I think it was Best Actor, wasn't it? Actor
I
in
think
a
it
leading
was.
role.
Was it?
Yeah, actor
Wow,
in
yeah.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
The
it
Wall.
was. It was Best Actor.
And listen, and did he do a fantastic job? Yeah, but man, there were so many other great films last year that potentially didn't even get represented. That it's just I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes you have to be artsy and edgy to win an award, and I think that's a prime
Yeah.
example of it.
It is and it isn't though, because surely it's kind of one of those films that people would say is Oscar bait, right? Like
Mhm.
it's been made, and as they're making it, they're sort of going, "Hey, this could win Oscars," right? Like it's really got that vibe around it, and the way it's pushed, and the time it's put in the cinema as well. All of these factors, like they're going, "We're going to try and win awards with this," and I kind of like. I think my problem with it as well is whenever we're shown the Oscars, for example, what we see is here are the 5 best films or here are the 5 best actors, and you sort of go, yeah, but like thousands of movies were released. Why are we just seeing these 5 options? And who
Because
knows what
everybody else
goes on
sucked.
beforehand? Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like. It really annoys me when you have one film in like 12 categories or something, and then they win 9 Oscars, and it's just like, no way does that make sense at all.
No, and I think the
annoys
other
me.
thing that's kind of surprising too is, like, you know, right before the Oscar, even the nominations were announced, you have a lot of these people that were nominated that were out basically pushing the agenda of the movie to really get that nomination. You know, Brendan Fraser was on Howard Stern. You had the cast of Wakanda going out and doing like was ETV and all this stuff, pushing for how much they love it. So it's almost like unless you're going to do the legwork to push it. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like you know. So this is the question I pose to both of you. As big fans of movies, which we are, I mean, this is the reason why we have a pop culture podcast. Do you really find personally award shows to be relevant?
No, not at all. The only thing I would say that I get out of them is sometimes it will draw my attention to a movie that I might not have thought about otherwise, and that's because what you'll often find is there'll be 3 or 4 films you've heard of, and then one film you haven't heard of, and you sort of go, oh, well, they must have done something right for it to be nominated in this category, you know? And that's probably kind of like the most I get out of it, because I'm not going to go watch a film because it's won 7 Oscars, because it could be something that I'm not interested in at all. Like that's not what sells me on something, you know? And it also really annoys me when you see a poster for something, it says, Oscar nominated actor is in this, or Tony Award winning Emmy so and so. You sort of go, it doesn't really mean anything, you know? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's really annoying.
I totally agree with you. Bailey, what is your feelings on like award shows?
This is one of the first years that I've actually really cared about it. In a while, at least. You know, I cared about it a lot when I was in college because I went to an art school with a film program, and a lot of my friends that were in the film department really watched it, and so it's kind of like a camaraderie thing. I mean, it's similar to football fans. I mean, a lot of football fans don't really care about football, but they come around the Super Bowl and, you know, they turn feral. So
Sure,
that's kind of, so that's, you know, the case. And even, you know, I love soccer, but I'm not going to watch an entire season. But when the World Cup comes, I'm not going to miss a single game. It's one of those things. And I feel like with people that care like about that level of movie and about that level of film, I think it kind of gives them something to rally around, even if it is just like a small group of pretentious people that like pick and choose what movies are actually, you know, going to be up there. But This year, I cared a lot about it because, I mean, we've talked about it before. Everything Everywhere All at Once is top 3 movies of all time for me. And, you know, I have been championing that movie as it first came out in theaters. And so seeing that film get the kind of like respect and get the, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not notoriety, but it's getting the accolades that it deserves.
Sure.
And the Daniels are getting the accolades that they deserve for creating it. That I was really stoked on. And I think it was super well deserved. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I haven't been here nor there with award shows ever since I was in school.
Okay. How many Oscars did that film win?
Oh God.
100 and Oscars, like not awards in total 157,
yeah,
but
which seems a little crazy.
It's the most awarded film in history.
Is it actually?
Oscars, I think it won 6 or 7. Yeah.
7.
Is that?
Yeah, it's the most awarded film in history.
Okay.
Dan,
that seems a little crazy to me.
Dan, have you rewatched that film recently?
No, I haven't. No.
How many times have you seen it?
I saw it once.
Okay.
And yeah, I thought it was okay. Like, I think it's funny because I was thinking about it yesterday because I knew we'd definitely be talking about that film. And like, I enjoyed watching it. It didn't, I think there's 2 aspects to that film, right? You've got the creative side of it, where it's quite interesting visually. You've got a lot going on there. And that stuff is done really well. Then you've got the thematic side of it, which I know hit home for a lot of people, like the story, you know, family and how all of that sort of stuff. And I think that stuff's done really well. The thing that didn't work for me was as a story, as a complete story, something didn't quite work there. It didn't, you know, there was an element there that wasn't fully realized for me. And I understand that that's not quite as important to some people, and maybe to also the filmmakers. They were sort of like, they're more focused on other elements within it, I guess. But there was something lacking in it for me. So it's weird because I can sort of recognize why it's done so well and why it works so well for people. But for me, the general concept didn't quite gel together enough for the actual story, what they were doing, the multiverse sort of stuff. I don't know. It's weird. I can't really put my finger on it.
I want to test the theory real quick. I'm gonna say 10 movies, and I just need to know if you both have seen it, yes or no, and if you've seen it, did you like it, yes or no? That's all I need to know for this because I want to prove a point.
Okay.
Have either one of you seen Around the World in 80 Days from 1956?
Yes.
No.
Bailey, did you like it?
I mean, as a classic, I would say yes. But if I were to watch it now and if it were made now, I probably wouldn't enjoy it.
Okay.
But I think given like the nostalgia that comes from it, then yes.
Okay. Charlottes of Fire from 1981. Have either one of you seen it?
No.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. The next movie
I've seen bits of it.
Gandhi from 1982.
No.
Okay.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Has either one of you seen Ordinary People in 1980?
No.
No.
Okay. What about Dances with Wolves in 1990?
Yes.
Bits and pieces.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Did you like it?
I mean, Kevin Costner, so yeah, but apart from that, I don't know.
Okay. Number 6, Driving Miss Daisy, 1989. Either one of you seen that?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Bailey, did you like it?
The fuck, Dan? I mean, again, for the classic, like if I were to watch it now, it wouldn't be in my top 10, but I mean, it's enjoyable.
Okay. What about the
I haven't got time for Daisy.
All right. We're at number 7, The English Patient, 1996. Either one of you seen that?
Yeah, I have.
These are better. I know where this is going because I played a trivia game with my friends a couple of weeks ago, and we were going through every single year of the Oscars, so I know where this is because we got all the way back to the year that The English Patient won.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know exactly what we're doing because that's Ralph Fiennes, and I know that for a fact because I looked up.
What about Crash in 2005? Either one of you guys fans of that?
Do you know what I saw that. Wait, we're definitely talking about what year was it? 2005, not the Cronenberg one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did see it. And do you know what's funny about that film? Is at the time I was like, oh my God, it's so so clever. And like you look at it now and you go, oh my god, it's so like on the nose with what it's trying to do, and it's so I don't know what the word. It's just crap.
And this is why I'm ending on Crash, because when the Crash first came out, first of all, those are all movies that were awarded best film in an Oscar, won an Oscar for it. Which, in my opinion, there was other movies that should have won over those. And I could even give you those. But the other thing too is when it comes to Crash, at that time it was groundbreaking. As a matter of fact, I was working at a video rental store and we couldn't even hold it in the damn video. I mean, everyone was just jumping on that like crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. But nowadays, it is ripped apart for being a blah movie. When I first saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, I thoroughly loved it. And I was like, hey, Heather, let's watch it. It's winning a bunch of Oscars. We should probably watch it. And I watched it again, and I was like, holy shit, I was trapped. This movie's okay, but it's not as great as I thought. It is a one-time ride. If you ride it more than once, it doesn't hold up as well. And I think, Dan, you made a lot of points to it. The main storyline about family is very strong. The weirdness factor, I think, is what excites people when you're watching it. Now, Bailey, I'm not ripping apart. Listen, we all have different movies that we love and stuff that clearly other people don't love. And
I mean, you like Food Fighters.
Yeah, 100%. I actually bought a pack of Food Fighters the other day at the Comic-Con. But I mean, listen, it is what it is. When it comes to the grand scheme of things, I think if we're still doing this show in 20 years, we're gonna go back and look at these Oscars and be like, hey, remember in 2023 that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once? Like, oh yeah, man, maybe I shouldn't have won Best Picture.
That will be interesting. That will be interesting. I have a feeling it's going to hold up better than some other it's definitely a worthy film.
I think a big reason why it's going to. I think a big reason why it's going to hold up is because a lot of those effects were practical and they were done in a very good way in terms of using the cinematography to their advantage, rather than kind of like doing a lot of CGI on top of just like really basic shots. The effects and stuff. That's no one's. I don't think that's anything to do with it really. Like Correct. That stuff. Have you watched iRobot recently?
Oh, that's
but that wasn't an Oscar film.
No, that wasn't.
I know. I'm just saying that movie, and excuse my French, that movie fucks. But the effects age like milk, and so I think like
alongside his other hit. What was the other vampire? I Am Legend.
Oh, he had a real Oscars last year.
Oh. Yeah, that too.
Thanks. I'll be here all day.
Hold on. I wasn't ready for that. There we go.
Thanks.
Well, let me ask you this: you were talking about the cinematography and the practical effects that movie won. Would you say that Pulp Fiction was ahead of its time in its cinematography and how it used practical effects in its moment, especially in 1994?
Did it win in 1994?
No, it lost to Forrest Gump.
Right.
It lost to Forrest Gump.
Yes.
I don't know
because I think. Yeah, but is because actually, if you would say to me, did Pulp Fiction win anything at all, or was it just a film that came out? Do you know what I mean? Like, was
it won our hearts?
It did win our hearts. Because I will say this: I think Forrest Gump is another movie where people adore it, but I believe I recently watched it and I was bored out of my living mind watching it.
Yeah.
I have friends that hate that movie.
I haven't watched that film in a long time, actually. No.
Yeah, watch it now, and it is kind of hard to watch. There's a couple of moments that stand the test of time, and it's got its very much catchphrases and stuff. But for the most part, like I just feel like if that movie was made nowadays, I don't know, I don't fucking think it would stand out. I think it would get ripped apart. I mean, listen, I think we all can agree. We've all seen the movie Fargo, correct?
Yes, and the show.
The movie was fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good film.
Yeah, it lost to The English Patient. So that's why I'm saying the fact that these fucking that's why I say these award shows are irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, when
the English Patient started Ralph Fiennes, so you got to take that though. The English Patient had Ralph Fiennes, and Ralph Fiennes rules. And excuse my French again, but I would say I would go as far as to say Ralph Fiennes fucks. Okay, so we got to give him the credit where credit's due. But I do still think it's fucked up that Fargo lost to The English Patient.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, does it? Because
No.
you talk to people and they'll talk about Fargo all day long. They won't talk about The English Patient. So
No.
it's kind of, yeah.
You make a great point. It's kind of like, when you look at I'm looking over this list, like, I think people would say they'd rather watch Goodfellas over Dancing with Wolves, but yet Dancing with Wolves won Best Picture in 1990.
But isn't there something about, it feels like the winners are always the film that's somewhat, I don't know. It's like it's the film that's going to sort of appeal more to more people. Do you know what I mean? Like Dances with Wolves, you could see that being more mass market than Goodfellas, right?
I don't know, man. Fucking Goodfellas, as Bailey likes to say, fucks.
Thank you.
No, I know, but like, I bet you there's a huge portion of society that wouldn't be interested in going to see Goodfellas, whereas I don't know, Kevin Costner at that time it is Kevin Costner, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
At that time, like, I think that was probably like peak Costner. Do you know what I mean? And look, I'm not saying who knows what goes on behind the scenes as to who wins. Maybe some money is passing hands,
Yeah, it's all assumptions, but I mean, it's got, the biggest point I'm coming out with, the way that movies have come out nowadays, and we get hit left and right with an abundance of movies, whether it's streaming, whether it's on our phones. I mean, we are taking in content completely differently than we did back in the 90s, way before Bailey was born. It's just, there is this, it's different. And I don't think, like, for the mass generals, I don't know, the mass population that watches films like we do, I don't think we really all entirely give a shit about like, just because it won Best Picture doesn't mean if I seen it or didn't see it, I'm gonna run to the theaters to go see it. But honestly, could give two shits. But looking at this list, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the best thing to come out of the Oscars this year is that Everything Everywhere, like, that is a pair of directors who are pretty small scale up until this point, and that's great because it means they're now going to be given a bigger platform.
Star Wars,
whether it is that what's going to happen? Star Wars.
The yesterday on a forum in Rotten Tomatoes, it was said that they were going to be given a Star Wars movie to be announced, that it was going to be something that they were doing because they were going to use the creative effects that they weren't able to afford to do in previous films to be able to do a Star Wars franchise.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, they're doing a Star Wars franchise?
Correct. They're supposed to be getting.
I have not heard that
yet. Yes, Rotten Tomatoes.
I want you to repeat after me. That fucks, guys. I want you to understand.
Also,
I'm not getting my head of self yet. I want to see it before I start fucking.
Wait. But how many Star Wars trilogies have we had announced in the last 5 years that have gone nowhere?
Absolutely.
Isn't it Game of Thrones? Game of Thrones people are meant to be doing something. That's not happening. Ryan Johnson, he was meant to be doing something. That's not happening. I think Patty Jenkins?
What about the Cloverfield
meant to be doing
guy?
something? She's not doing anything.
Wasn't the Cloverfield guy?
Yeah. He was meant to be doing something. Like, I none of that stuff's happening.
It gets
so, but maybe they will. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Disney did what they did with Marvel, which was announce a lot of stuff. Difference is with Marvel, they pushed it all through. Whereas with Star Wars, I think they sort of went, it's not working.
Did you hear that Kevin Feige said that they, like, moving forward, want to push against the amount of content that they've been releasing? Because he did recognize that they kind of flooded the market with Marvel content. And so they now want to go back to focusing on, they want to focus on quality over quantity again. Yeah, 100%. Which I would say that rips.
Yeah, I think what it was a mixture of Disney Plus launching and COVID, because I think they were sort of like, right, we need to do stuff that we can have going into the home, and now that we're kind of moving out of that, the quality's not there, and they are not getting the reviews that they used to in the past. So that makes total sense to me. Like, a little bit more time, a little bit more focus. I do think, is it Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out this year, right?
Next
year. Yeah, it comes out in May.
Yeah. May. So I have a feeling that's going to be a very high quality film. Like, just because, whether you like James Gunn or not, like, he does make good films, and this being the culmination of what he's done with those characters. I think that's going to be on the sort of level of one of the last Spider-Man. Like, it's going to be good, I think. But everything else around that, I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, the couple to comment on a lot of the things you just said, I think it's good that we're getting less. I think we've said that for the last year talking about the show. The problem we're having with the amount of content that Disney is putting out, especially with Marvel, is it's hard to keep up. And when we did a show last year about like what we need to do to get ready for a certain movie, it was overwhelming that you have to watch shows and then catch this and understand this to understand the Eternals. And I'm like, I don't want to do fucking homework. And I think Marvel realized that, like, you just want to go into a film, you want to watch the movie, you want to see the 2 end credit scenes, get excited for the next movie coming out, and that's it. If I don't want to sit through, I don't know, Loki, for instance, which is a bad example because that was actually a really good show, then I shouldn't have to watch, do that. It was just too much. And the biggest problem was that realistically, all these movies that have been coming out from Disney, based off of the first generation of Marvel movies that Disney put out, have not really held up one-on-one. You can literally do the first 8 years to the last 8 years or something like that, put them side by side on and they outweigh each other dramatically because of the fact that they rushed to do it. And I think they got the wrong directors to do it. James Gunn did a fantastic job with Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them, and I was one of the people that were skeptical about Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange because I didn't know them going into the films, and I fell in love with those characters. I feel, and knowing James Gunn and the fact that he wanted this to be a trilogy and he wants to put a bookend on it, I can only imagine, first of all, I feel like this movie's going to be like fucking 3 hours long. And I have a feeling that it's going to be...
It was already confirmed that it's going to be 3 hours.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
It's like 3 hours and 6 minutes or something like that.
Oh, wow. I have a feeling it's going to be full of surprises, and it's going to be fantastic. And, I love James Gunn, and I was really excited that he took over DC until the last week. But,
what's he done in the last week?
So he had made all these statements on Twitter about first he said that, Ben Affleck was very excited about directing something for him in DC Universe. And then Ben Affleck came out and said, I respect James Gunn, but I do not like the direction this is going in, and I will not be a part of it. Then, he basically, the one thing he did do that this week that I was excited about was Shazam was supposed to, have like a tie-in to the Justice League of America and all the Society, and all these things. But because Dwayne Johnson refused to be a part of Shazam and wanted the DC universe to be revolved around Superman and what's called Black Adam, and that's how he wanted to grow it going forward, he refused to have Shazam have any of those characters in there. It was James Gunn that allowed the extra credit scene at the end of the movie to incorporate his wife and the other gentleman to kind of give that secret scene. But it made no fucking sense to even have any after credit scenes for Shazam because we don't even know if they're going to utilize him and how the hell you would utilize that. It makes no sense. But the other thing too that's coming out is that there was a lot of excitement around how we're going to utilize characters going forward and stuff like that. And he announced all these people. And realistically, he hasn't lined up anything. It's come out that he hasn't really followed up. The only thing he's really done is he's wrote a script for the new Superman movie. He's directing the new Superman movie, and he's going to announce the cast for the new Superman movie in 5 months.
I kind of feel like it feels like he because he got kind of vindicated, didn't he, after he was asked back to do Guardians 3. And it was a little bit like, whoa, yeah, we were a little bit silly there. And obviously, The Suicide Squad was a pretty successful film. He did a good job on that. And then he got the Peacemaker TV show out of that. So, it feels like he was on the rise, right, after a pretty big downfall. And it feels like he's got a little bit power hungry now, right? Because if you think about what was happening with the DC film universe, they'd had the stumbles. There's been some stuff that went wrong. They're pushing forward with the Flash movie, which, for all intents and purposes, is the thing that's going to reset everything, okay? And it's going to be we're going to take bits from this universe and this universe, whatever. And then they announced the new stuff, and it's we're doing that, but we're also getting rid of everything. And it's sort of like, don't do that. Just keep the bits that work, man.
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And the fact that they're doing that, it's very big-headed, essentially. Like, he's just like, I don't want any of that stuff. Oh yeah, wait. The only thing we are going to keep is the things that I did, the Suicide Squad. We're going to keep all of that. And it's like, wow, what a prick.
Well, that,
you know?
that and Wonder Woman. He's made it very clear that he's going to keep Wonder Woman. But it is interesting because Tom Cruise came out the other day and said he saw the Flash movie. He had a private screening of it, and it is everything you would want in a movie. He said it is the perfect superhero movie. But the thing that really confuses the hell out of me is that the talks of what's the guy's name who plays Aquaman?
Jason Momoa.
Thank you very much. There's talks of him taking over the role of Lobo in DC, which makes no sense because now you're going to play two characters in the same world. But also, if Flash is supposed to reset the series, right? Like everything, but then Aquaman's coming out in November, and Aquaman has already been said that they had film scenes with Ben Affleck as Batman in it, and then you have, I don't know how it's going to be restarted, but the problem is you're going to have Aquaman that ends, in theory, the run of all the previous DC world, and then you're going to have to wait 2 more years for the reset. It's going to be interesting. Now, I do think we're going to get some DC TV shows on HBO Max next year, I believe. I think they're starting to film the Green Lantern series this summer, which I'm excited about that, but who the fuck knows?
It just all seems messy. Like, for something that's meant to be cleaning the slate and making it better, I just don't know why they're doing it like this at all. And yeah, it's really horrible, but it just makes me think that James Gunn is a little bit full of himself. And I just don't see it being that successful, but we'll see.
Well, let me ask you guys this, too, because based off of the most recent superhero movies that have come out in theaters over the last year, drastically, they're not making the money that previous superhero movies have done. And, Bailey, I'm going to ask you this question. Do you feel as though superhero movies are kind of running its course and the popularity of them is starting to go away?
It's tough to call. I think what they're doing is they are kind of moving in a direction where they are making them more a movie than superhero in a lot of ways, just because they are trying to push a lot more narrative elements and a lot more of kind of like artful storytelling within the movies, which, Anthony, I'm going to use you as an example for a second. As somebody that is not as heavily ingrained into like Marvel and into kind of like the lore within the comic books and everything, I know that in more recent years, you have not been a fan of a lot of the Marvel movies that have come out in the last 2-3 years. When I, on the other hand, have been like, yeah, a lot of them, like, they ruled, they're really good. But that's because I think that they're relying more and more on people knowing what's going on. And they're relying more and more on people kind of just being more familiar with the stories. And I think because of that, as a casual fan, you're starting to pull away from it. But as someone who's a fan of, the deeper cut Marvel stuff, I have still been enjoying it in kind of like full force.
Dan, what do you think?
I think they've reached the point where they're creating movies that are utilizing characters that don't have the mass market appeal. And they did it really well with, like we said, Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy. They took a franchise that was, and I'm someone that really likes Marvel, and I really didn't know much about Guardians of the Galaxy. They were pretty low tier, I would say, at that point. And they made that really big. And I think they've thought they could do that with anything. I think there was that feeling that they could take a character that was nothing and make it into a big franchise. And I think what we've seen is that repeatedly fail in the last few years. And even to the point where, Quantumania has not done great, has it? Right?
No.
And I don't know if that's because it's Ant-Man. Who thought we'd have an Ant-Man trilogy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
to me, that seems kind of crazy. I appreciate that he's important, and he's important in the film the series. He's important to the lore, all that sort of stuff. But really, you know, if you were to just talk to someone, just a random person, everyone knows who Superman and Batman are, right? Even the X-Men, maybe. Ant-Man, probably not, right? So I think there's been a lot of focus on the wrong stuff. I think the Eternals was a mistake as well. And I quite like the Eternals, but I can see why it failed, because it didn't even look like a Marvel movie. It looked like some weird cult sci-fi film or something. I think the thing they really need to do, and I'm quite amazed they haven't fast-tracked this, is bring the Fantastic Four and X-Men in. And if you were going to rush anything, I'd be doing that like the end of this year. Have one 100%. Of those things coming in, right? Maybe they will. Maybe they'll start to tease that stuff. I don't know. But if we don't see,
I'm pretty sure Mutants is supposed to come out this year.
Mutants, what's that?
It's the opening of the X-Men in the MCU.
As a film?
I'm like 80% sure it's a film, and I'm pretty sure it's coming out this year.
If it did, that'd be really good. Yeah.
There's also Deadpool 3 is supposed to introduce X-Men into the MCU as well, because Wolverine is in that, because Hugh Jackman's co-starring. So the X-Men are being introduced. I just think they're kind of going with a trickle-in approach, and it's going to be curious to see how that kind of how that plays off versus kind of going in full splash. You know what I mean?
I mean, give us a big fuck-off movie, man. That would bring in fucking billions. That's what people want, right? Maybe not billions.
I'd say billions. I give it billions. If Avatar can make billions, a good X-Men movie will make billions.
Why can't we get James Cameron's Avatar? James Cameron's X-Men 3D, The Way of the Mutant. Why can't we get that?
Because James Cameron doesn't make good movies anymore.
Did we talk about Avatar last time? I can't remember.
God, it is.
You've not gone. You won't go and see it.
No, I saw it. I watched it illegally. I'll even say that. I watched that shit illegally because you know why? I wasn't spending money on it, and I fell asleep 4 times during that movie, and every time I'm like, I don't understand why people love a Fern Gully ripoff so much. It is a dog shit movie. The acting is god awful. The storyline is god awful. It is horrible. The fact he's trying so damn hard to push a whole new series that realistically,
so angry, Bailey.
Oh God, it's terrible. Terrible.
This isn't on the script, Anthony. There's no Anthony goes off the charts on Avatar.
Did it win anything? An effects one.
I think it won some sort of bullshit effects thing. Hold on, I know it's on here somewhere. Bullshit effects.
Won best visual effects.
Yeah, bullshit effects. Avatar. There you go.
I kind of feel like that's an appropriate award because they are amazing.
It is. It's incredibly appropriate. I think we went over that one scene with the hand tying the saddle in the water.
Exactly.
How they didn't want to recreate it they didn't want to do it with CGI, and so it's practical. And they painted on the directional skin texture just to make it look realistic. And I mean, that alone, like that right there, deserves an award. So I will say they deserved best effects, but I'm glad they got snubbed in everything else.
Well, I will say this. There's a reason why I'm asking the questions about this, and I'm glad you said something about Avatar. So, previous to COVID, I went to...
No, you're not. No, you're not glad he said anything about Avatar. No, we heard your tirade there a second ago.
I'm glad he said it because it's totally going to help me with my next point. So, previous to COVID, I used to go to 3 to 4 Comic-Cons a year with my family. We love going as a family. We'd go out and do things. But since COVID and stuff, we just haven't had an opportunity to go. This past weekend, there is a big one, Planet Comic-Con here in Kansas City, which is absolutely ridiculously massive. Biggest one I've ever been to. And Robert Bruno, a friend of the show, had a table there. So he's like, hey, we worked it out. I'm like, and I said, I'll come and hang at the booth with you for all the 3 days and stuff, and my family can go do their thing. And I didn't know the lineup of guests that were going to be there. And I will say that it was 60% anime voiceover actors, some pop culture people, a lot of Star Trek, that one Star Wars guy, but it was nothing over the top like actor wise. But I will say this: in my previous times going to Comic-Con, there was always a ton of Batmans, a ton of Supermans, Wolverines, all these like superhero things. Dude, I'm telling you this now. First of all, not a single person dressed up like Avatar. Not a single fucking person. You want to know why? Because the movie sucks dick. The other thing is the majority of the people that were there were dressed up in anime. And we noticed, like, Robert was saying that, like, a lot, that sales-wise, he wasn't selling a lot of his superhero stuff. And the people around us were like, their sales were drastically different. And then the people that were selling anime stuff were just printing money. And what I learned was during COVID, there's this new streaming service that's like, I guess, streams anime. I'm not really familiar with it, but that it has just as many subscribers as Netflix does as of today. And that the
Crunchyroll. What is that? That's what it's called. Crunchyroll?
Yes, you're 100% correct.
Yeah. Anthony, Crunchyroll's been around since 2013.
Dude, I don't.
It's been a big thing since 2013.
Dude, there was a guy walking around with a fucking chainsaw.
It's not new.
There was like 100 people with chainsaws attached.
Yeah, that's
to their
Chainsaw
face.
Man.
I don't
that's
fucking know
Chainsaw
what that
Man. That's one of the most popular animes in the world.
Come on, man. That's Chainsaw Man.
Do you know who that is, Dan?
I do know who Chainsaw Man is, actually. Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea.
It's a very popular anime.
But then I'm really cool and I'm down with the kids like Bailey,
I'm glad you are, because I am not down with the kids.
Dan can fucking hang, dude.
No.
Dan can fucking hang. You apparently cannot. It's ridiculous.
There was these people with like a skull on their face wearing like pink. I saw like 100 of them, pink, like long like gowns, and that was an anime character. Dude, I'm telling you, I was fucking beside myself, shocked how I didn't know 80% of what people were dressed up as. Like, I was shocked, but it was because of the anime. And in the same sentence, that this Planet Comic-Con this past weekend was not sold out. A lot of shit ton of people, tens of thousands of people that came through, a ton. Mm-hmm. But dude, they're having an anime con in the same building in 3 months that is sold out every day of tickets, which shows me that maybe the youth of today doesn't give a shit about superheroes anymore, and now it's leaning towards a chainsaw face.
I mean, I love anime. I do. I watch it all the time while I work.
You watch everything. I feel like you have like fucking 50 TVs on the wall, because every time, like, I saw that when I was working. Like,
I have 4 monitors.
You do?
I have 4 monitors. Yes, I have 4 monitors at my desk.
Man, I don't do that. Gives
one for TV, one for anime, one for PlayStation, and one for work.
I have Xbox at my desk. My PlayStation's downstairs. But no, I have right here is the iMac. That's the main movie and TV. Here, I have one of the BenQ Professional Series drawing monitors that has 100% color gamut, which rules. And then I have my MacBook props up and daisy chains to everything. I have my email pulled up on there so I never miss something if I get something during the workday. And then my desk, it has my Wacom right in the middle of all 3 of those.
So what you need to get is one of those vertical ones so you can have the stocks on them. Like, and you can just
I've thought about it.
Stocks and stuff.
I've thought about it. I have the BenQ on an arm so I can tilt it vertically if I want to.
Well, just do that.
I keep that in the back pocket just in case.
You should definitely do it.
So, yep. Not
anyway,
anime,
get into anime.
My point.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I know Cowboy Bebop. That's about it. And nobody was dressed
Cowboy
up like
Bebop fucks. Very definitively, Cowboy Bebop fucks.
Yeah. The Netflix show was terrible.
Netflix show was god awful. I will say that.
I was going to watch that, and then they cancelled it before I even got around to it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to watch a cancelled TV show.
Yeah, that's a rough thing. I wonder why Netflix does it, because they did it before the show was like only out for a few weeks. Like, where?
Absolutely crazy.
It's because there was a huge backlash from the Cowboy Bebop fan base because it was awful. So,
well, how the hell are they going to get viewership if they're already announcing that it's canceled? Yeah. I mean, because here's the thing: you can be a big fan of it, but then it could be like people that are like with Marvel, like maybe you don't read the comics, but you enjoy the movie. Just saying.
News broke on Twitter where everyone said that it was awful, and so I think Netflix just kind of like, put their tail between their legs, and they were just kind of like, well, it's already very public that fans very definitively hate it, and that's already driving viewership down. So it was kind of one of those things where you can't save a sinking ship. That ship was already going down the second that it came out, and so, what would have been the point of them wasting marketing money to keep pushing it if, it was already out there on Twitter and on Reddit that it was awful.
Well, they lost one viewer because I was going to watch it.
There you go. and that could have potentially put him over the top.
Yeah,
Dan could have put him over the top.
That's right, Dan. But you don't understand the power of Dan Mumford. Dan Mumford, I was told Okay, and I got this in my notes here from a secret admirer. It says that he pisses gold. Like that's how important Dan is.
I mean, it's golden in color. Yeah.
You mean maybe you need to drink more water then?
What you mean? Not orange Lucozade?
I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay.
The fuck is Lucasade?
Do you not know what Lucozade is?
No, here in the
where's my
States, we have Lucas Oil. And if you're out there drinking fucking orange Lucas Oil, it makes sense as to why your piss is gold.
It's just I mean, it's basically just a sugar drink, but like the idea, it's called energy. So the idea is it's like, I think it's like Gatorade, maybe.
Then why not just drink Gatorade?
Because we don't have that over here.
You don't have Gatorade there?
No.
That's kind of weird. I don't like
weird.
that.
Do you have Coca-Cola?
I mean,
Yeah,
we
what
also
the fuck,
have
Dan?
we also have things like proper chocolate and not Hershey's and all that bullshit. Ugh. You guys are crazy.
Chocolate. You got a biscuit covered in milk chocolate. Boo, boo, boo.
Fuck
Do you know what? I
love
heard
you,
a fact.
but fuck you.
Wait. I heard a fact the other day about Hershey's chocolate, and it's to do with American regulations. So apparently, you have a lower quantity necessary in chocolate to classify it as chocolate or something. So what that means is like the milk chocolate quantity that you have is so low that it's just all bullshit chemicals in there instead.
That
That's why I don't have the milk chocolate. I'm a fan of the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, good. There you go. Yeah.
You gotta say that shit with your chest more, Dan. You can't say "fuck you" just being like "fuck you." You have to give it a little bit more, like "ootspa." You have to give it, something.
No, I'm too nice. Look, Anthony's annoyed. We're going off script.
No, it's okay.
What's next?
Yeah, sorry, Anthony.
I'm fine. I am totally okay. I'm fine.
Come on,
Please
bring
don't
us back,
take away
bring us back.
rations for the week. We're sorry. We'll bring it back to the script.
Oh God.
Sorry, Father. Sorry. Right. What's next?
Well, no, I mean it's funny you mentioned all the differences in like different places eating different foods and everything, because that was a conversation I had recently with of these new friends we made here that are from Mexico, and they were talking about like the differences in like I guess like soda's different there, like how it tastes it is of here. Chocolate was another. They
Cane
talked
sugar.
about chocolate. What'd you say?
Cane sugar. That's why the soda tastes differently. That's why you can go to any Mexican restaurant. You can order a Mexican soda or a Mexican Sprite, and all it is just it's made with cane sugar rather than like a sugar substitute that the States make them with.
Oh, well, I mean, it just shows. I mean, I got invented to an authentic taco night, and like I wasn't expecting like what I had, and they also made fun of me because I put my when I make tacos, I eat a hard shell, and that is not authentic. But I also
Not unless
thought,
you're having birria.
I also was told that Baja Blast and Cinnamon Twist are not official Mexican food either. I thought that was official, basically, because it was from Taco Bell. So I was wrong. I did. I actually brought.
Do you guys know that? You want to know a fun fact about
Go
Taco
ahead.
Bell? Taco Bell is the healthiest food chain in the world.
That is an incorrect statement.
That is completely correct, because about 7 years ago they brought in a nutritionist to completely overhaul the menu, and everything that they use is actually fresh versus like using a lot of processed shit.
Do you want to know my fact about Taco Bell? I had it for the first time about a year ago, and it was one of the most disappointing eating experiences of my life. There you go.
It's because you have
That's my
British
fact.
Bell.
All right, so I just want to give this to
It was
you.
just-
Done
It had
by-
no flavor. It's nothing.
on
weird.
February 14th, 2023, a study was done by Healthline.com about the 10 fast food restaurants that serve the healthiest food with the freshest ingredients. And number 10, let's just go through this real quick. Number 10 was almost every fast food restaurant. Joking. Laugh out loud. Go to number 9. Okay, whatever that means. Panera Bread was number 9. Subway number 8. KFC is number 7. Cheesecake Factory is number 6. Ruby Tuesday is number 5. McDonald's is number 4. Wendy's is number 3. Chick-fil-A is number 2. And to top the list, I will tell you this, it is not Taco Bell. It is Chipotle.
Well, then there's no way that they fell 11 places to get knocked off that list, because there was a study that was done right after the nutritionist was hired, like a year after or so, where they were like, it's now the healthiest fast food chain in the world. Also, half of those I would not claim to be fast food, because you can't even go through a drive-through.
So drive-thrus make it fast food?
Yeah, I would say so.
Then I would say
I wouldn't
Whataburger-
I wouldn't
say-
claim Panera as fast food.
I would say based off our experience, that Whataburger, we were in line for 45 minutes in drive-thru. That wasn't very fast.
It's still fast food.
Oh man, we're gonna have to do degree.
I mean, I don't know what half these places are, so
Oh man. All right.
Don't worry, my little British crumpet. That's why you're going to live longer than us.
Yeah, probably so.
Mm,
It's all right. We'll say nice things at your funeral, Bailey. Moving along to other things. Have you guys seen any movies recently? Because there's been a lot of good movies that have come out over the last few weeks.
Do you know what? I haven't watched a lot recently, but I did watch something, and I'm very curious if you guys even know what this film is.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
right, you know who Idris Elba is, right?
Yes. Did you watch The Beast?
Oh yeah, I watched that. That was awful.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But so, did you see his new film Luther on Netflix?
No.
Right. Do you know what Luther is?
Satan?
It's like a British spy thing, right? Like a British intelligence
It's
thing.
a police thing. He's a detective.
Yeah. Okay.
So after Idris Elba did The Wire, he did Luther in England for the BBC, which is basically he's a good cop, but he's a bit crooked, right? But he gets stuff done, classic stuff. But it was really good, and they did 5 series of that, and then nothing for about 7 years, and they just did a film that was on Netflix, and I don't know, man. I think you guys would probably like it. It's like, because it's Idris being amazing, obviously, crime drama, but there's always a slight weird twist on it. There's an episode that I remember where there were some killings happening, and they were deciding how to do it by rolling dice like Dungeons and Dragons. Ooh. So they'd be like, it's like, oh, we got a 17 and a 20, so you're gonna have to go over there and do this. And I don't know, it's good stuff, and Idris holds it all together. So anyway, the film came out, and I watched that. I watched the film the other day, and it was all right. You can kind of watch the film without watching the TV show as well.
Oh, nice.
So I'd suggest
Dan,
that.
I need you to tell me right now, did it fuck or did it not fuck?
It was a quick fuck.
Okay. You loved that, didn't you? Dan was very happy with himself off of that.
I was happy with that. Yeah, it was I'd give it a 7 out of 10. There you go.
So 7 minutes out of 10 minutes. Okay. That's a quick one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's good to know.
But again,
good
I
for
would
your
watch.
Wife, though, Dan. Good for your wife. That's quick. Good for her.
Hey, whoa. I'd watch Idris in anything though. So
Okay. Well, now here's the next question. So that you saw that movie and you said you didn't have to watch the show. Have either of you seen the...
wait. I also watched Knock at the Cabin, which was fine.
Oh, wasn't it great?
Yeah.
I still have yet to see it.
Wait, you didn't see it and you're like Mr. Dave Bautista.
I have been busy. You know this.
I've
seen so many things that are
you've watched every anime show, you've watched every other Marvel movie,
it's true.
You've read every book.
Those are things that I can stream for free on my computer because of
you watched The Last of Us 8 times.
Have you watched
The Last of Us Part 2 12 times?
Played the first one 18 times, first and foremost. The second time on my 4th playthrough.
You didn't. 18 times is too many. No one's got time for that.
Well, yeah. I did. I will say, I saw the new Shazam movie. I liked it. My daughter loved it. Is
it out?
Yeah, it's out. It came out last weekend.
Last week.
Oh.
Did either one of you like the original?
Yes,
I did.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I also found out that my friend's daughter is in the movie, which was kind of surprising to me. I had no idea she was one of the main characters.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah, it was. Well, he's an artist. He's been on the show Damien Fulton, and we kind of chit chat every so often. And then come to find out his daughter is one of the main characters. So that was a surprise.
Is in one of the Shazammers, or
it's funny because she's the one that
one of the orphans.
Well, she's one of the ones that plays the orphan, and when she's Shazam, she's the same person. It's what's
there's only one of one of them.
It's Grace Curry.
Oh, so that's your friend's daughter?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it was just.
Yeah, I always thought that was the same in the first film. When she turns super, she's the same actress, and I always thought that was really funny because what happens if they did a 3rd or a 4th film where the orphan kids, whatever they are, no, the foster kids, aren't they?
Yes.
if they're like 20 and they Shazam but turn into someone completely different. Like there's sort of a fine line they got to tread there.
Yeah, it was, but I liked it. It was a fun movie. I liked the after credit scenes were fantastic, but I don't know where it's gonna go. So I liked it. I saw the new Scream movie. That was probably the best Scream movie since the first one. That was fantastic.
I really want to see that. I really want to see
I
that.
do need
film.
to see that. Yeah,
Dude, it was surprising.
it takes place in New York City, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, the last one was all right. The one before that was kind of muddy, and they've all had like their downward spirals, but this one was done in a way that was fantastic. I didn't know who I had no idea who the killers were. I was surprised, and I loved it. Good movie. And
That's also really great to hear because the last one only came out like a year and a month ago. Like it's such a quick turnaround.
Was it that soon?
Mm.
Yeah, it was like January
came out last-
2022.
Wow, I didn't.
It
realize
was. It came out like a
a.
week after Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Jesus, yeah. Totally.
So I couldn't believe that they made this film that quick. The only thing I can think is that maybe like it was held back because of COVID and stuff. The fifth one.
Oh,
So maybe it wasn't like maybe for them making it was actually like 3 years difference.
well,
But
because
for us
that
getting
was
them, it seems really quick.
that was a direct to stream one too, wasn't it? I feel like
That's how I watched it. Yeah.
I felt it was a direct to
Yeah, I
stream.
watched.
No,
It was an HBO Max release.
oh, that's what it was. But it was.
I mean,
No,
I'll-
sorry,
I'll
it was
never-
Paramount. It was Paramount release, Paramount Plus.
But I will never forgive them for calling it Scream. Like it's
Oh,
Scream
that's right.
5. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Like you can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, Scream 6. Like
They
Fuck
should have
them.
just called it Five Cream.
exactly. Scream. Yeah.
Scream. Five.
And this well actually it would work for this one as well. Scream. All right, come on. Next.
I saw the Champions. That was really good. The new Woody Harrelson movie. That was pretty. That made me feel good inside.
Oh, I don't know that.
It's like they tried to make it like very like Bad News Bears vibes, right?
No,
That was like
No.
the whole thing.
not really, because I mean it's about a guy who loses a job because he has an attitude problem, and then he has to do community service and work with the special needs basketball team that are like fighting to be in the Special Olympics, and it's more of a heartfelt movie than it is Bad News Bears.
Okay.
I think
I'll put that on the list. I'm
that was
curious to see that one.
it is actually like, you know, if you want like, you know, it's a good heartfelt movie. Like it's a good one. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like there's something else I'm missing.
I was
don't
just
know.
going to say, knock at the cabin, without
so
because I don't want to spoil the film at all.
Is there a knock at the cabin?
But
Yeah.
yeah, I saw knock at the cabin. Yeah.
no,
and
there's
there's a knock.
is there a knock at the cabin in the movie?
Oh yeah, several knocks. Yeah.
Dan, what the fuck? Why'd you spoil that for me, man?
There's a lot of
he's knocking all the time. It's such a weird. I feel like without talking about the plot too much, it's a really weird film because it's very well made.
Mhm.
It feels like it's M. Night Shyamalan being good, you know,
Yeah.
because he can be really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Lady in the Water.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last
and
Airbender.
Old, that was pretty bad as well. But like the last third for me just fell apart completely. It didn't. Also, apparently, it's different to the book. The book has a much better sounding ending, but you know, it just didn't work for me towards the end. But I will say, Mr. David Bautista is great in it.
Oh, yes.
Like he is. Oh, that's my door. He is really good in that film.
Your
So,
door
like,
has a ringtone.
I'm in my studio. Yeah.
That was fancy.
Sounds like a phone, man. That sounded like a phone, like
It's
like the
like
phone
a-
that you
it's-
like a rotary phone.
It's one where you pick it up and you go, hello.
Oh,
It's
is
an
there someone
intercom.
is someone in the studio working with you?
Yeah, an intercom. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah, there's
realize
2 other people in here with me.
What? You look at you, Mr.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize how big of a deal you are. This is
They're not working for me.
I know. Don't please. I'm pretending to hear that. You got like all these people working for you. You got the dog in the studio. Like man,
Yeah, there's like 12. Yeah, there's 12 people here. Yeah.
12.
Yeah, Dan's
Jesus.
running a sweatshop.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
All right. So let me ask you
You
this.
hear that, Twitter? Dan Mumford's canceled.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, you got canceled.
Oh no.
Better luck
Not
next year.
again.
Not again. Oh man.
You better issue the best notes app apology out there.
Oh,
I've got one ready to go. Yeah.
there you go. You always got one on. You have to have one on speed dial a little bit. Just kind of throw it out real quick because you could always say something wrong. Have both of you watched The Last of Us yet? Dan, have you watched it?
I've watched 2 episodes.
Oh, okay, we can't talk about it then.
Yeah, they simul-streamed in the UK for this one.
Yeah. And I watched 2 of those episodes over the last week. Do you know what? So, like, it's the show that I'm watching with my wife, and like we'd watched the first one. You know, that's like nearly an hour and a half, and we were like, okay, that's enough for tonight. And we watched the second one like a few days later, and she's sort of like, I just can't do them back to back. Like it's too grueling, you know.
Yes.
And I was like, fair enough. So we're gonna eke it out over like the next few weeks, I think.
Okay.
I will say,
damn, it's almost as if they did that when they came out. That's so insane.
Yeah. I will say, within those first 2 episodes, I don't quite get it yet. Like, it's okay. Like, it's not like the best TV show I've ever seen. I know that there are some better stories in there to be told. I know the 3rd episode is very good. But, you know, it's quite funny because when we were watching the first episode, she turned to me and she was just like, oh, so it's just like The Walking Dead. And I was like, no, there's more to it than that. And like, after that first episode, I was like, I guess it kind of is just like The Walking Dead, actually, isn't it? Like, they are like sure, the mushroom men, but they're just zombies, guys. They are just zombies.
Yeah.
I know there's more to come. I know the story. I've played the game. But like, I don't see quite what's so spectacular about it yet. Sorry, Bailey.
Hey Dan, can you lean in? Can you lean in closer? I want you to lean in closer.
No. Okay. I'm fine.
I like the show until the last episode, but I don't want to talk about it anymore about that because you haven't seen it. The last.
I mean,
episode
I know what
frustrated
happens.
the hell out of me.
I know it's. I really because of the decisions that are made.
It's just anticlimactic.
Oh, okay. That is fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, take this into
that.
account. The last episode, so the ending of the game, I love in terms of looking at love as toxicity. But think about it in this context. When you're playing the game, you are Joel in that moment. There is a lot more emotional charge. There's a lot more difficulty in making the decision. And then when you're watching it unfold on screen, it's almost as if you're detached from that decision, you know? And
I was going to say
playing through it. Yeah. So like when you're playing through it, you do have a lot more of a kind of like, whoa, what the fuck? What am I doing? Because you have no choice but to do it.
That was also my thinking about it. Why it wasn't grabbing me quite as much was because I think it was 2013 when it came out originally, and it was probably 2011. There you go. And it's not like it wasn't revolutionary, but it was a very, very effectively done experience, let's say, that put you through some quite grueling things, some tough things that you didn't necessarily have a decision about, but like you were in control, like Bailey's saying. And I think that's perhaps why it's not hitting home as hard as a TV experience, because you are detached. And I think also those story beats and that story for a video game at the time was very, very powerful, let's say. And I think when it comes to TV, we've seen this sort of story before, so it's not quite got that impact. But as far as an adaptation from a video game, which is already pretty good source material, it's pretty well done. Like, this is probably going to be up there as one of the better adaptations from the video game world.
I mean, it's already heralded as
and it looks, and I am curious to watch the rest for sure.
Well, you're coming up to what is known as the best episode and potentially the best television or streaming service, or however you want to place it, episode of a very long time in episode 3, that's great. I hope it is. But but the thing
is,
it's
for the gays too, which is double as good.
I hate wanting to up it a little bit. I mean, Brad who's tuning in along, he said the same thing. Episode 3 stands alone and is great. You know, there
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I don't want to hype it up too much because I feel like sometimes when you go into movies and you have the hype behind it, it ruins it a little bit for you because you're expecting something more than what you're actually going to receive. Because I think we all have that problem where we hype something up or we hear the hype of it and we go in and then we're let down because we're expecting such a high and it's not that high. And I think that's why the end of this show was kind of anticlimactic for me, and I was just like, "This is what we fucking get. Like this is it. Like,
Yeah.
this is the end of this."
But you know what? I think it will work really well when you have the next part, because I think I'm pretty sure they're going to do the next part of the story in 2 series.
Yeah, they announced that.
They already
It's
announced
so
that they are.
it's oh cool. Yeah, I mean that makes sense
Yeah,
because
they're splitting
it's big. It's big.
Okay.
And I kind of hope that they split it in the same way they do the game because there's 2 distinct stories to tell.
Oh.
And I think it'd be quite cool if they did them as 2 separate series.
Dan, I was going to tell
It'd be
you there
cool.
are rumors. There are rumors as to how they're splitting it, and it's not that. They are saying
That's a
that
disappointment.
I know, and this is what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say anything else because it's going to spoil, but they're saying that they are going to split up the 2 seasons at the moment, which
That's gonna
I don't
piss
like,
people off
and I
so
don't
much.
support. It's going to piss people off so fucking much. Like they were saying like, oh yeah, it's a pivotal moment, and that's where we're going to pivot from season 2 to season 3. And I
mean,
like, no.
all I would say as Anthony is there are different perspectives told throughout the story.
Okay.
And I think they've got a really really good opportunity to do something really effective with that. And I would not want to be the person having to work that out because the way it's done in the game is quite blunt but effective, and it pissed people off at the time.
Oh wow.
But I think in a TV show, it's going to be really interesting to see how they show differing perspectives, basically, on events. That's it, really. But there is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot.
But I guess my point is, I think that anticlimactic finale will work really well when you get to the next part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that they're going to open season 2 with showing the other perspective of that moment. And again, I will not say anything more to spoil it. But
So
Dan, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan also gave away the moment within his monologue right there, and I'm not going to say which one single word gave away a spoiler for what the moment was, but he did say one word that completely gives it away.
Oh my! It went over my.
You mean
head
the
then.
nuclear bombs?
Yeah.
I forgot I said nuclear
No.
bombs.
Anyways, welcome to the new podcast where it is NPR talking about very vague story beats from the next season of the show, but without giving anything away.
Is this only on PS5 or PlayStation? This game?
The game
4
launches.
and
It
5.
launches on PC next week.
Dude,
Part 1.
First of all, I barely play video games as it is. I'm never going to sit in front of a PC to play a game. I can't.
That's
do
your
that.
only
you
option
don't
if you want
need-
to play
I
this
can't do
game unless you get a
keyboards.
PS5.
I might have
Do
to.
you know what? I just
You can
wait.
get a
just wait
controller,
for-
buddy.
No,
You can get a controller and plug it into your PC.
no, I'm good.
Just wait for the TV show, man. You're fine.
Okay, good. So that brings me to my next question: is there a property, whether it's a comic or a video game, that you think would do really well if turned into either a movie or a TV show?
I mean, yeah, loads, but off the top of my head, I can't really think. I mean, the thing is, all my favorite comics they've actually turned into TV shows eventually.
Or aren't you a lucky
Preacher.
boy?
Preacher was one of my favorite comics. I absolutely adored it.
What is that?
And then they turned it Preacher.
You never heard of it?
It was on AMC, I think. You didn't wait, Bailey. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know Preacher. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was a very good
Yeah.
AMC show.
Yeah, and they did an okay job of that. It was a bit too slow, but that was a pretty good adaptation. I don't know, man. Like I'm not that interested in adaptations really. Like I much prefer things coming out of nowhere with their own sort of wild look at things. Does that make sense? Like,
I get it.
because if it's an adaptation, you're just always going, well, that's not how I pictured it. That character's wrong. Oh, why have they done that? And it just, I don't know. We all just come back to MODOK. Why did they do that to MODOK? You know?
Oh, yeah, it was very weird for me. It was a weird moment in my life watching that movie.
They adapted MODOK wrong, but he was fine.
Yeah. Bailey, is there anything you'd want to see adapted?
MLB The Show 2013.
Okay.
Wait,
So-
is that baseball or
It's a
something?
baseball game.
It's baseball. MLB The Show is arguably the greatest sports video game to ever. No, actually,
NBA Jam.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say no. NFL Street.
Oh my
I don't know if you guys remember that. I played it on my GameCube. It was sick because you could be making a run, and if someone tries to come and tackle you, you can literally wall run and jump over people that are trying to tackle you. And that shit. And I will say this definitively. And this is my
mute.
no. This is my last card that I'm gonna pull for this. That game fucks hard. It does. It does.
Too slow.
Oh God. So I there has been a game in my mind that I played back on the Sega Dreamcast. There was a game called Blue Stinger, and it is based off
Blue
of
Stinger. Wow.
Do you remember that game?
Yeah, it's a really bad Resident Evil ripoff.
First of all, it was not a bad Resident Evil ripoff. Sega NHL 94 is that. There we go. I loved Blue Stinger. I played that game to get every ending except the one ending that nobody can get, which is still almost near impossible. But I loved the concept of that. I love the game. I love the storyline of it. That would be a fantastic HBO show.
I would love for you to go back and replay that game and tell me how bad it is.
It is. First of all, it came out in 1999, so the graphics aren't going to hold up nearly as well. But that was a fun game.
Do you know what? Actually, that's just reminded me. I want them to adapt Resident Evil one more time and get it right. Because they've tried.
They've only done it like 30 times.
They've done 2 movie series now, and there's the animated
sucked.
ones.
Oh, the show was
the TV
terrible.
show. Although R.I.P. Lance Reddick, he was in it. You know, like they just can't get it right, and it really annoys me because actually the core of the story is quite a fun story for a few of them, and they just keep fucking it up. So there you go.
And it's crazy because if they put the budget and the good and like really put a cast behind it, like they did with Last of Us or hell even Walking Dead.
Yeah,
I mean, realistically, if they did what they did with Walking Dead to Resident Evil instead of Walking Dead, let's say they, when Walking Dead came out, they just did Resident Evil instead, but gave it the budget and the cast and stuff like that. It would be a fun show that I think would have done better than Walking Dead in the long run.
absolutely. Yeah. That's just reminded me. I presume they're doing some sort of adaptation of God of War, right? Is that happening?
I don't know.
It's been heavily speculated for the last couple of years that they're going to do it, especially after Ragnarok and the success of Ragnarok.
Yeah, there's a good story to adapt there for sure.
I think a big reason as to why there's been a lot of controversy surrounding that in particular because a lot of people really want what's his name? Christopher Judge. They really want him to voice, like he's the voice actor for Kratos, and everyone is so definitively like he is Kratos.
He's also the actor for him for the motion capture.
Yeah, for mocap and everything, and that's why everyone wants him to be, the actor that plays him. But there's also a very large amount of racist people on Twitter and Reddit that are saying they will not stand for Kratos to be black. Yeah. So that's there's a lot.
But he's not
even
even white.
Purchased by Amazon, and Amazon
he's literally just ash covered, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he's covered in ash. That's part of the that's what everyone says. There's literally no reason.
Yeah, it's like it wouldn't matter what skin color you have because he'd be covered in white ash or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, just to give you a heads up, Amazon owns the rights to the movie. It's being written by Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby from Iron Man and Children of Men. There's speculation that the 2 actors right now that are heavily picked up to be the main cast is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and
No.
and
No.
The only thing I would say is Christopher Judge.
Oh,
like,
Anthony
how
and
old
Anthony
is he?
Mackie is the other person.
Anthony Mackie. Weird.
To play
Like,
who?
These are the two
Yeah.
names on this list, and this is coming from etv.com. I don't know who the hell Anthony Mackie is.
Weird.
I mean,
He plays Falcon.
They'd have to be
Oh, he
absolutely
does.
stacked either way.
Yeah,
So-
Anthony Mackie's not that ripped.
No, that's why I'm like, I have no idea who he could play in that
No.
show, because
And they
I don't think he
couldn't-
fits the bill for anybody.
And to be honest
J-
with you, right now, if you are any movie series, especially after was it Levi, the guy that plays Shazam, posted that yesterday the truth about Dwayne the Rock Johnson and how these kind of directors are coming out saying that he's difficult to work with and they don't want to work with him and stuff like that. I can't imagine it. I do feel like we're about to see what was once every 3 months of a new Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie coming out. I do think we're going to see a trend of him not being in movies going forward.
Yeah, he'll be begging to go back to the Fast and Furious franchise before you know it.
He'll be back in WWE before you know
It's
it.
done. The Fast
What, is he
franchise
com-
is done.
No, they got one. They're filming.
No,
one
we've
more
still
movie.
got two.
I'm
more.
saying like no, it's one more movie.
Yeah, the new.
No, it's two more.
Yeah, the one that
No,
comes out that's filmed
one
already
more.
comes out this year, and then there's one more that comes out in 2 years.
Exactly.
And
No.
then
Suck it, Bailey.
you know what I'm
No.
gonna tell you, if the series doesn't end with Vin Diesel in a car, like by a cliff, like Velma and Louise saying something about family, and then drives off a cliff, I don't know if I'd be happy. Like that has to how it ends. Like just some sort of very cheesy, catchy family quote that's gonna be on a million T-shirts, and then drives off a cliff, and that's how it ends.
I think it will be he'll end up on Mars or something. He'll colonize Mars. I think that's a good way for it to go. He'll start a new family on Mars. Yeah.
It'll be just the land of Vin Diesels.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm stoked. The new, actually, I think the new one looks quite good.
Dude,
So
I
sorry,
love
guys.
Fast and Furious. I like the fast cars when they're actually in the movies. Nowadays, it's more or less not. But I don't know, dude. Like I just remember when I saw the first Fast and Furious with my buddies up in Maine, and he had his 1998 S10 Chevy pickup truck, and he went out there and we revved the shit out of that engine, making donuts in there because we thought we were going to be joining the next street club. Like it was just cool stuff. That is how you did it. You burned out your tires and you thought that you were actually cooler than you really were in your 1998
I've just
Chevy
realized
S10.
the Fast and the Furious franchise is like nearly as old as Bailey.
Oh my God,
How does
Bailey,
that make you feel, Bailey?
Bailey,
Like,
when were you born?
You can chart your life through Vin Diesel's best films.
Wouldn't be looking at the Fast franchise then, buddy. I don't know how I feel about that.
The first one came out in
You
2001.
should feel,
I
you should feel
also-
good.
For everyone, I told these guys, or anyone listening, wondering why I sound so tired. I slept for like 3 hours last night after being gone for 2 weeks, and so
Because
my
you were
brain
out
is
watching
kaput.
Fast and Furious franchise. Yeah.
No, sir. I am mad though because I've never seen a John Wick movie, but Keanu Reeves was in Austin for the premiere of John Wick 4.
Come on, man. You should watch John Wick 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, those movies are
I know.
fantastic. Those are
I know.
No, you got to play Last of Us Part 1 for a 19th time.
No, I have to finish I have to finish the second game for the fourth. I'm stuck on the Rat King right now, dude.
Okay.
I'm stuck on the Rat King. I can't get past it. I've been trying for like 2 months.
You know, there is a
I'm going to
saying-
see. I was just going to say I'm going to see Wick 4 in 2 days' time.
Me too.
Yeah.
You
Can't
know,
wait.
there is a saying.
Where there's a Wick, there's a
I
way.
live my life a quarter mile at a time. Nothing else matters.
Just remember that. Just
I
remember
do.
that.
Yeah.
Spend a long day without you, my friend.
Is that the song they play when he's
Yeah,
dead?
when-
Because that's rude.
when- when-
Don't do that.
With the
But he's
terrible
driving
don't do
off
that
into
to me.
the sunset.
with like the terrible
do that.
CGI of like you can see like that smiling face. He's just like, see you later. Oh my God.
But it's not terrible because he's actually dead, so it's sad.
it is sad. Oh man. Oh God. This.
Okay, so make me happy before we end on a sad note, because
Okay.
you know.
Okay, hold on. I can give you one of those. Oh, here we go. This will end on a happy note. Ready?
95, faggot. I like the tuna here. Bullshit ass.
Remember that? He likes the tuna here.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's not a happy note at all. What the fuck?
That's in the damn Fast and Furious when he falls in love with the girl and he keeps going to see her and then he's like, "Why are you here?" He's getting picked on. He says, "I like the tuna here."
You dropped the F word.
There was a certain
That's
word that should not be
2023, man.
used.
What the fuck?
I didn't make the movie. It was a soundboard. I clicked it. Hold on, let me find it.
Uh-oh, Anthony, you've been canceled.
Oh man, you just got.
Sounds like
school
Bailey's the
canceled.
only one coming
Well,
out
here,
on top
hit
this
it.
episode.
That's not what I had in mind.
It's not what I had in mind. I apologize.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
What, was that from the first movie?
Yeah, that's when he keeps going to
Man.
that deli and he keeps getting the tuna sandwich because that's all they make.
Do you
And
know
then,
what?
like,
there
he
was Sorry, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like where he's like undercover and he's supposed to be like trying to find out if
Yeah.
it's like the part shop and stuff. And he keeps going there and he keeps getting the tuna sandwich. And the guy's like, "No one likes tuna sandwich." And he's like, and then he gets called, I guess, the F word. I totally forgot about that because it doesn't say that in the
Yeah.
damn soundboard.
Well-
And then he's like, "I just like the tuna."
I
here."
was watching another film from the early 2000s, and they said that word again in that film, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I can't believe that was used so casually in the
Yeah.
early 2000s, which I guess is like 20 years ago now. But
Yeah, that
still, it
movie-
seems
The first movie
pretty crazy,
came out
man.
22 years ago, which is crazy because I remember going to the cinema and seeing it. I remember the whole day like it was yesterday. It was just there was so much hype. The way they first of all the marketing behind that movie was genius. Like I don't know if you like the Super Bowl ad for that was just like all these cars flying down the street. Because Honda Civics and Hondas, all those like tuned up Hondas at the time were so popular. And I would just remember like, you know, are you too fast? Are you too furious? And then Fast and Furious coming to cinemas soon. Like it was just it was a fun time. It was a fun time.
Bailey remembers it. He was walking down the street with his mom, looking up, going, "One day I want to drive fast cars."
What year did the first movie come out? 1999.
2001.
Okay, I would have been 4 years old.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know
that
if
sounded
I
just
would
like
have
you.
been
Yeah.
As coherent as that. I had to go to speech therapy when I was a kid.
Oh, don't make it dark. Come on,
Oh yeah,
man.
come on now. We've tried to get out of the dark like 3 times from this episode. Listen, first of all, then guess what? Those lessons or the teachings that you did a fantastic job because you're speaking very well today.
There you go. And
So-
now
so
you
for
can
the-
speak about your love of the Fast and
you.
Furious franchise.
There you go.
Go.
Look at they're clapping for you, Bailey, because of your speech. They're doing so well. So that is how we'll end the show with the fact that we are so proud of Bailey Reese and the fact that at 4 years old, he took speech classes to become the man he is today. And we are proud of him for that. And at 4 years old, me and Dan, and when Bailey was 4, me and Dan were going to the movies to see fast cars in the Fast and Furious as we journey towards the end of this journey known as the Fast and Furious. So with that being said,
Spend a long year without you, my
I was waiting for something. Yeah. There you go.
We can't actually use the song because we can't afford it, so I have to try and give us the closest
Yeah.
outro as possible with it.
Actually, you could do the outro. Yeah, that'd be really good.
the 30 seconds. Dan, anything that we should know about anything coming up soon that we that people can buy from you or that you'll be up to doing?
Oh no, my store is still closed because it's been closed for like 2.5 months now, which is really frustrating because that's like a big part of my income. As Bailey will know, like we kind of rely on selling prints. So to
My
close the
store's
store
closed right now,
really sucked. Yeah, I had to do it because the UK postal system was totally screwed up. And I'm going to Japan in a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to be gone for like 3.5 weeks traveling
for
around
you.
Japan. So you're not going to see much of me doing work for a while, but
Okay.
I'm sure I'll post lots of really fun, cool things that I find on my travels.
Well, that is super dope.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
So that's
that.
what I'm doing.
That's
But my
awesome.
store will be open in May. I'll be
Nice.
back with lots of stuff on sale in May. Yeah.
Oh, cool. We will.
Dan and
push
I have
that
another
like crazy.
collaboration coming out. Surprise.
You and Dan do?
Yeah, we've
What?
worked very hard on it.
Wait a minute.
What-
How the hell do I not
What
know
are we
about this?
collaborating on? How do I?
We've been working on it for the last 6 months.
Oh, is it our child?
No, Dan, that's the other collab we're announcing in 2 months because we've been working on that for 7 months so far, dude. Come on, man. Get your fucking head in the game.
Oh God.
Yeah, sorry, I'm busy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what a baby that has Dan's bald head and Bailey's full face makes. So very excited for the outcome of this child.
They probably look like you, actually.
I'm the offspring of Bailey Reese and Dan Mumford. This is interesting.
Like,
All right.
looking at the screen right now, that's what it looks like. It's us two at the top going down towards you. So
Oh my.
Yeah, you're
God.
like the generative AI where you put in the 2 photos and it generates the the baby.
Well, then I guess there's one thing we can say about that. That if you two did make a baby, you'd make one good-looking one. Wouldn't we say that to the audience?
well
Oh, yes. 100%. All right. And then on that note, Touring Fan Checkout, you can check out this episode and all past episodes. Just search the Touring Fan Live on YouTube or our Facebook channel or anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. We'll have a new episode coming out once I figure out a date with these guys soon. Next week, we have 2 more shows on the Touring Fan Live. We have Let's Talk Vinyl with Trey Bush and myself, Talking Wine and Pearl Jam. And then also, we're going to have Rob Benson back for another show where we're talking late to the party about the songwriting process. So definitely check that out next week. But until next time.
And if you guys could possibly stay after for a survey to let us know if the scripted format was stupid or not, we would appreciate it. So thank you.
Where is a good noise that I can hit for you?
These to script his noises.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, figure that out because I definitely know what I want to push, but I don't know where it is on here.
Come on, man.
It's
It's been half an hour.
Yeah, well, that wasn't right either.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you put me and
no.
Bailey in the soundboard?
we can. I've actually thought about
Okay,
cutting up
you
your
can
voice
do
a
that
little
for
bit
next
for
time.
that.
Yeah.
So, but
You
anyway,
have to put
yeah.
the soundbite that you have to put in there is me going, I've played it 18 times.
no, I need that you singing
anytime
that
we
song
talk about
on the
videos.
soundboard. That's what I need. I just need you singing
Yeah,
the
that's
Fast and
true,
Furious
yeah.
write-off song.
Do you want me to sing us out while you play the disclaimer at the end?
You said instead of music, you're just gonna sing.
Yeah. Let me pull up the
What the
lyrics
people
real
want.
quick. What's the name of the song?
I don't know. Hold on.
See you again.
Okay. All right. Hold on. You let me know when you're ready, and I will.
Okay.
Do you need any background music to it all?
All right,
Or
you're good. You're good. Nope. Acapella.
All right. Well, everyone, once again, check us out, touringfanlive.com. That's Dan Mumford. That's Bailey Reese. I'm Anthony Krzyzewicz, and Bailey is going to silhouette scenario, whatever the fuck it is, sing your way out to start your day. And here we go.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. And then, Dan, can I get a little beat, please, while we play out?
No, I'm going. Bye.